We need to talk about Vivek Ramaswamy and Vivek's mistake. I'm Joshua Lisec. This is Daily Persuasion. I am the New York Times bestselling author and co-author, a ghostwriter of more than 90 nonfiction books, and a professional certified hypnotist. It's through this unique talent stack I am able to curate current events to teach you how to better influence the VIPs in your life and in your career. Vivek Ramaswamy, of course, you are familiar with him, is from Southwest Ohio. I am from Southwest Ohio. I liked Vivek, and I want Vivek to win the governor race in 2026, particularly against, it looks like he's going to probably be going up against Dr. Amy Acton. We are calling, of course, Dr. Amy Lockdown. She is Ohio's female Fauci. She brought great destruction, dread, and death upon the state of Ohio during the COVID shenanigans. And she made a puppet out of Governor Mike DeWine, who is what we might call a rhino, a Republican in name only, because Governor DeWine of Ohio, perpetually supports far left-wing positions, voices support for liberal values, and goes against what run-of-the-mill basic ordinary conservatives want. It's quite strange. Ohio has a rhino infestation problem. Now, coming back to Vivek, have you noticed how the energy around Vivek has significantly shifted? How nowadays a lot of people are very sour on Vivek, particularly conservatives, Trump supporters, Republicans, populists, nationalists like me around Vivek. So what exactly happened? Let's do a little bit of a timeline. So Vivek, together with Elon Musk, began working on the DOGE project, the Department of Government Efficiency. And then there was some leaking coming out that he had worn out his welcome right around Christmas, and then announced his departure, followed by his running in the primary for Ohio's governor for 2026, coming up in just almost 2 years from now. What happened around Christmas 2024 that turned public opinion on the right, at least online? I'm not quite sure about the public yet, and the public in Ohio and amongst your Republican primary voters, and then Republican general election voters during midterms. So those are the two populations to watch. Well, Vivek had star power. When Vivek was in Springfield, Ohio for a special town hall last September, I went to that. Massive crowds, specifically for Vivek. And the people that were there, mostly white working class people. There were bikers, military veterans, people with like such and such painting company, and remodelers and excavators and construction, and people who had clearly just been working on a landscaping job with steel-toed boots stained green from grass. Salt of the earth type of people. And of course, everyone wearing MAGA hats. I also witnessed this back in June when I bumped into him at the People's Convention, Detroit, Michigan, where Trump spoke, and I did the book signing with Jack Posobiec, my co-author, on the New York Times bestseller on humans, The Secret History of Communist Revolutions and How to Crush Them. The guy has star power, just drawing people around him. What happened in December that began to turn the tide? Well, that's when the H-1B visa program story really popped off. And it came out that less qualified foreign labor from countries such as India, Ramaswamy, India, okay, get that connection. It came out that large numbers of American employers were overlooking more qualified native-born American workers for jobs, and they were paying H-1B workers for those jobs instead, bringing them over and sort of doing basically population replacement, opportunity replacement. That made a lot of nationalists, populists, conservatives, Trump supporters, and Republicans a bit upset. And into that controversy, I believe he since deleted it. Right after Christmas, Vivek Ramaswamy posted a long and detailed, let's say, novella, a manifesto, an ode, let's say, a story, a diatribe, a position piece, paper, on the folly of American culture and how I'm going to do a TLDR of his post. So he mentioned prom and jocks and their relative inferiority to nerds who like to study and do their homework, and how American culture, specifically amongst heritage Americans, people whose ancestors have been here for a long time and effectively built this country, how they have become lazy, how they would watch TV and go to prom and play sports and kiss the cheerleader rather than buckle down, sit down, and study like immigrants do. And the reading between the lines that millions of people did was effectively racism, classism, bigotry, and prejudice coming from Vivek Ramaswamy. It was as if it was on behalf of the Indian American population. Again, this was not specifically said, but it was as if he was saying, on behalf of the Indian American population, dear white people, we are better than you. That was the tone of it. And there was no apology. There was no walking back. The attempt at clarification was awful. And it was not something you can take back. Wait a second. You think you're better than us because you're the child of immigrants. You really care about studying. And you say that, like, the basics of Americana, like going to the prom and having a girlfriend and playing sports and watching Full House on television, makes us inferior and means we should be replaced by less qualified foreign workers? Are you kidding me? Mask off moment. A few weeks later, during Vivek's early campaign, there was a silly video where I guess it showed him at his home. It was a picture that he posted giving an interview in which he was barefoot, and the woman interviewing him was like in her socks or something like that. And I noted correctly, of course, that Vivek is Indian, and generally Indian households, they don't believe in wearing shoes around the house. Now, of course, that has two meanings, right? He's Indian. It's an Indian household. Vivek Ramaswamy likes to speak as if he is a tried and true heritage American. And he's always talking about the founding fathers this, and Thomas Jefferson that, Benjamin Franklin said this, and the U.S. Constitution, I'm going to quote it, and Article 5, section whatever. And people then see this, and it's, oh, he's Indian. And then in a subsequent interview a few days later, he mentioned how he is an American citizen because he was born in the United States to immigrants, to parent immigrants, which is colloquially called being an anchor baby. Birthright citizenship, which is being walked back, in the process of being walked back. Because, like, if I have a wife and we go to the Dominican Republic, let's say, or we go to Cuba, or we go to Russia, or we go to just pick a random country, it doesn't matter, and we have a child there, should that child who is born there have the citizenship of the soil upon which they were born? And does that then make them officially a spokesperson for that Dominican, Cuban, Russian, respectively, culture, history, heritage? That doesn't make any sense. So why must that happen here in America? When you look at other statements that Vivek has made, like America is not a place, it's an idea. America is not a nation, it's an idea. America is not a people, it's an idea. Well, no, it's not. This goes directly against what the nationalist populist, based Vice President J.D. Vance has pointed out, which is people of the world are not interchangeable economic units, cogs in machines. This is why I point out, ironically bringing Springfield up again, why shouldn't there be 15,000, 20,000 Haitians brought into Springfield, Ohio, a population of only 50,000? Why is that fair? What's wrong with that? Springfield, Ohio is not Port-au-Prince, Haiti. The people of Port-au-Prince, Haiti are not the people of Springfield, Ohio. And that, in 2025, is somehow controversial. Vivek's mistake was insulting his base, his fans. Now, is that everything I've just described that has happened online, specifically on the X platform, is that going to ultimately filter in the information flow? Is that going to be filtered all the way down to, funneled all the way down to, first, Republican primary voters, who are a very small percentage of the population? In a lot of these, let's say, non-presidential election year elections, in primaries, you see sometimes less than 1% of the eligible voter population actually show up to vote. So it's the base. Is enough of the Ohio-based primary voting population of Republicans, have enough of them heard what Vivek had to say, feel this way about him, relative to the Attorney General of Ohio, Dave Yost, who's also running? He doesn't have the name recognition, and it's kind of tarnished, in my opinion, via the relationship with the Rhino to Wine. That's probably not going to hurt Vivek in the primary. He's probably going to win, especially since he was endorsed by President Donald J. Trump. I believe he and J.D. Vance were classmates growing up. Vivek, that is. And then in the general election, against likely Dr. Amy Lockdown, Ohio's female Fauci, the Yas queen of masks. Mandatory masks, I should say. I don't know. I'm doing this particular video, because one of the most important rules, if not the most important rule of public relations, is don't insult your fans. Don't insult your fan base. Don't insult your voters. And the people I saw wrapping around the block, so many people in Springfield, Ohio, that they had to close the place off, and they wouldn't even allow media in because so many people swarmed the place to hear Vivek. Working class people, salt of the earth type of people, blue collar people, gray collar people, the working class, the Rust Belt people. And then these are the very people that he disses hardcore in December, just 3 months later. Don't do that. Don't do that to your fans. Don't do that. Don't do that to your base. Just don't. Vivek's mistake. Don't make it. We'll see if it costs him. We'll see if it costs you.